Hi everybody, it's that time again when I pester you about my Patreon page and also remind you that that is a thing that exists, my Patreon campaign that allows you who maybe enjoy my work and feel compelled to support me in this channel with a small monthly contribution. Can do that through the magic of Patreon. You can go to my Patreon page, www.patreon.com/Steve Shives. It's also linked in the description box below. If that is something you're interested in, if it would not be a hardship for you, it is there, it is available. I welcome your contribution and your assistance. It is greatly, greatly appreciated, and it is going to be put, I assure you, to excellent use. And I'm going to go over the fundraising milestones that I have set up for my Patreon campaign, which will allow me to describe some of the uses I will be putting your Patreon contributions toward. We're moving on to milestone number 2, which is at the $1,000 a month level. And when I reach the $1,000 a month level, I will produce a new series of 5 more stupid things videos. A few years ago I did this as sort of an audience participation gimmick at the end of the year, where I invited you guys to tell me which of the previous topics covered on 5 Stupid Things About you would like to see me return to and produce new videos about. Well, when I get to $1,000 a month funding level on Patreon, I will do that again. And the twist this time is that Patreon patrons will be the ones who vote to determine which topics I have previously covered in the 5 Stupid Things About series I will return to produce new videos about. Now, there's a funding level beyond that I've defined. It is the $1,500 a month level, and when I get to $1,500 a month in my Patreon campaign, that is when I will produce brand new audio podcast versions of the An Atheist Reads series. I will do this for all of the series I have done up to this point, starting with An Atheist Reads the Case for Christ, the first one I did, all the way up through An Atheist Reads Ray Comfort, the most recent one I've done. And going forward, I will also produce audio podcast versions of the series I produce from here on out, parallel to the video versions. And the reason I'm waiting until I get to $1,500 a month to do this is I want to do it right. I want to do it in a high quality. It's been a few years since I did the first of those series. I want to take the time to go back over the scripts, to rewrite some things that maybe I could have done a little better, to take into account some of the comments I've received, some of the discussions I've had with people on the relevant issues since then, and also to invest in really high quality audio equipment so I can record a new version of those critiques just for a audio podcast format so it'll be better than just ripping the MP3 audio out of the pre-existing videos. I don't want to do that. I want this to be special. I want this to be high quality. I want this to be worth the wait, because a lot of you, ever since I first started doing the An Atheist Read series, have suggested repeatedly that it would be a great idea to do an audio podcast version of these critiques so that you could listen to them on the go, you could listen to them in the car, you could listen to them while you're multitasking. It would just be a great thing. And I completely agree. And when I do it, I want to do it right. And waiting until I get to a funding level where I can afford to invest in equipment, I can afford to take the time to really rewrite it and make it as good as it possibly can be, that I feel will make those podcasts a product worth the wait. And they will be available for free for everybody when I get them done and I release them. And that will be at the $1,500 Patreon funding level. Now, beyond $1,500, there is the $2,000 level, and when I get to the $2,000 a month Patreon level, that milestone will be live weekly podcasts. I will take that high-quality audio equipment that I've purchased for the An Atheist Reads podcast, and I will put it to even further, perhaps even better use, and begin producing a regular live podcast. Every week it'll be me. I think I can talk my lovely wife Ashley into co-hosting with me. I'd love to have guests on. I'd love to take calls from listeners. The comparison in my head that I have is Seth Andrews' Thinking Atheist podcast. Now, I do not pretend for a moment that it will be anywhere near that level of quality. I certainly don't have Seth Andrews' perfect radio voice or his poise or his smoothness on the microphone. And I certainly don't expect that it will be anywhere near as popular or as relevant to the atheist, skeptic, free thought community as his work has been. But that's my model. The next level, the final level that I have defined, is the $3,000 a month level. And that is the level at which I will invest in better video production equipment, better lights, maybe a better camera or multiple cameras. I'll be able to produce things on a slightly larger scale. I'll be able to do things outside of the house, do things with multiple actors. I love the Steve and Stuffy videos. I don't ever want to stop doing those. I don't want to change what those are. I want to keep those pretty much as they are. But I want to be able to do things beyond that as well. I want to be able to do more creative, more narrative type things with multiple actors. I want to be able to do interviews with people on video with multiple camera angles, so it's not just the two of us squinched up in a two-shot for the whole time. I want to do things like that. I want to be able to keep doing the things I've been doing that you guys have been so kind enough to support and to like. That I've had some success with, but I want to be able to do more than that as well. I want to be able to continue to do what I'm doing, but to go beyond my current boundaries as well. And with your help, I can get there. It doesn't have to be a large contribution. It doesn't have to be $15, $20, $30 a month. Some of you have been incredibly kind and incredibly generous, and there are a few of you who are pledging at that level, who are pledging at the $15, $20, $30, $40 a month level. I cannot express my gratitude for that. That is incredible. But it doesn't have to be that much. You can pledge $1 a month. And if that would be a hardship for you, please don't do it. Some of you are so sweet and so kind. You leave comments on these videos and other videos of mine where you say, oh, I wish I could support the Patreon account, but I just can't afford it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry, it's completely an optional voluntary thing. I just want to let everybody know that this Patreon campaign exists, that it makes a difference, it really helps me out, and if you enjoy my work and you feel compelled to support the channel and support these videos, and you can afford it, I welcome it. That being said, I do think it's worth making special mention of those of you who have gone above and beyond the minimum donation. So starting last month, continuing this month and on into the future, I'm going to be giving you shout outs by name for donations of $5 or more. And I have a list of names here of patrons who have pledged $5 or more to my Patreon campaign since I made the last video in this series last month. And I'm going to read you their names. I'm going to tell you how much they've contributed, and I'm going to tell you thank you, thank you, thank you. Here are their names. First, these patrons have pledged $5 a month. These are the new $5 a month pledges since last month. They are Nathan Klein, David Smith, Andrew Stout, Harry Ray. Those people have all pledged $5 a month to my Patreon campaign. Thank you guys so very much. At $6 a month, there's a pledge from Tom Cutbill, which I actually just got before I set up to do this video, so I'm glad you got it in under the deadline, Tom. Thank you very much. $7 a month, Jay Went. Again, thank you so much for pledging that amount. It is tremendous. $9 a month, Pedro Timoteo. Pedro, thank you so much for contributing. $10 a month, James Scapituolo, Jeff Edberg, and at $15 a month, Patrick Lippa. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very much. I hope that the meager act of reading your name on the air and singling you out and expressing my appreciation makes it at least a little bit worth it to contribute what you've contributed. And all of you guys watching, $5 a month or more gets you a shout out at the end of these thank you for your patronage once a month videos. $5 a month contributing or more. One more thing before I go. This past weekend I hosted the first of what I hope will be many hangouts for my Patreon patrons. It was a big success. It was actually a load off my mind. I was worried for a little bit that nobody would show up, that nobody would be interested, but people were interested. A lot of you watched live as it happened, and 2 of my awesome Patreon patrons joined me in the Hangout for an hour. They were Henrik Erickson and Christy Winters. They were kind enough to join me for the hour. We hung out. We had a really wonderful informal conversation. We talked about Henrik and I talked about video games for a while, and then Christy joined us and we talked about movies. We talked about Mystery Science Theater and Keanu Reeves movies. We talked about Christian apologetics. And it was just a very loose, informal, fun conversation. And I know a few of you who are patrons of mine expressed disappointment that you couldn't make it. Either you forgot about it, or you had to work, or you had some other commitment. I'm going to do them once a month, going into the future indefinitely. So if you didn't make it this month, do not worry, you are more than welcome next month. The rules are this. When the Hangout starts, it's streamed live on my YouTube channel. Everybody can watch. You don't have to be a Patreon patron to watch. Everybody can watch. But if you are a patron of mine, you can check my Patreon page about 15 or 20 minutes before we go live, and I will post the link to join in the Hangout. So if you are a patron, you will have the unique opportunity to click that link, and if you have a Google Plus account, you can join in the Hangout, and you can talk with me live on the air, and we can hang out for the entertainment of everybody else for an hour. Judging by this first Hangout that I just completed over the weekend, this is going to be a ton of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to talking with Henrik and Christy again. I'm looking forward to meeting and talking with you guys who weren't able to join us this first time. I would love to have new faces. I would love to have regulars come back every month. The whole thing is just really, really exciting for me. It was so much fun to do. So right now, the next Patreon Hangout is scheduled for Sunday, October 26th, and it will begin at noon Eastern, which is my time zone, and it'll run for an hour. So noon Eastern time on Sunday, the 26th of October, is the next Patreon Hangout. Everybody watches. Patrons get to join me in the room and participate. And by the way, someone wondered if you need to have a webcam. You don't have to. If you're not comfortable showing your face on camera, you can turn your webcam off. You cannot use your webcam. As long as you have a microphone, you can participate. And I think it was even suggested if you could join the Hangout and just ask questions in the chat. If that's what you want, if that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm down with that too. I'll make sure to keep checking the chat sidebar while we're doing the Hangout. That will be fine too. Whatever is most comfortable for you guys, whatever can get you guys to join with me, to participate not only in the Patreon campaign itself and contribute to support the channel, but also to enjoy the Hangout, to get involved with me, to have a good time. So that's it for this month. I am through pestering you about my Patreon campaign. I hope to see a lot of you either watching or joining in with me at the next Patreon Hangout at the end of the month. Again, October 26th, beginning at noon Eastern time. And I will be back to do another one of these next month for another monthly update on my Patreon campaign. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, for sharing my videos, for liking and commenting, all the things you have done for years that have made this so rewarding for me in so many ways. And special thanks to all of you who have contributed to the Patreon campaign. I appreciate it so much. And I will see you guys to talk about this again in a month. Take care.